So now that you've taken some notes in class, how do we turn those notes into actionable items? How do we actually do what we've taken our notes on? Remember, just as a review, this is notes on George Washington. We're taking only key terms here. We're not writing a history book here about George Washington. We already have a history book. Let's just write key terms that we can quickly find those facts in, maybe through an index, or we could use Google or another search engine to find more information. We're going to put in key information and be able to indent here. Notice that I'm indenting my notes. So let's look at the second set of notes. I'm told here on 9-5, right? They're in my American history class. Now this can apply to taking notes in meetings or doing anything else, but here I have a test that's coming up on George Washington's crossing of the Delaware. It covers chapters 1 through 3 of my history book. That test is scheduled for 9/18. Notice that I've indented and put test 9/18. Paper 9/26. I have a paper on Ephrata, Pennsylvania, that information is found in chapter 4 of my book, and then I need to do some research. And then I have just an open task, or OT, that's due on the 10th of September to read chapter 1. Notice here that I've indented here my notes, and then my action items are right here in this column. And the reason why we do that is so that we can easily, quickly find what we need to do and when we need to do it. And today we're going to look at using task management to accomplish this. So let's say here that we have a test on 9/18. We're Sparky, all right? And you can see some other examples of some tasks, but let's say we're Sparky. Now this is using Drop Task, which uses Google Calendar. So we'll go back to Google Calendar in a minute. But here I'm going to drag new task over to Sparky here, and I'm going to say here American history, and I'm going to put in test, and then I'm going to just say create the task. Now if I click on that, notice how it's highlighted, kind of shadowed here. See where I see a calendar up here? I just go up here and it says 9/18. I'm going to say, yep, that task is due on 9/18. Oh, and I want to add some information about that. I may put in here crossing Delaware, and may put chapters 1 through 3, just something so that I have it as information so that I can look at it at a later date. And then what the priority is, high, whatever, and what level of effort. It's going to be medium effort. So I can put all of this stuff inside, and then I can attach myself or other people to that task as well. But here, let's just leave it, whoops, daisy, let's just leave it here on the 18th of September. And as you can see the pattern here, now we can put another one in called paper. So we're going to, again, title it American History. Now, I could have different task bubbles for every one of my classes if I wanted to. We could do American History, and now we have a paper that's due, right? And so we're going to go ahead and say create that task. And that bad boy is going to be due on the 26th. Great, so we save that. We may again want to put in some details here, maybe chapter 4, and put in Ephrata. Remember, we don't want to write a whole lot of information, but we want to write enough that it kind of sparks our memory, and we hit go. And then we have a task here that is read chapter 1. So we're just going to put here, again, American history. We're going to put read chapter 1. All right? So however you abbreviate and do that, and then again, that is due on the 10th. Now, I know some of you are saying, golly, that's an awful lot of work to do just to get something done. Well, yeah, it is a lot of work, and it does take some planning. But as you can see here, we're talking minutes of planning. So now we have to say, we've already got chapter 1 scheduled here. Let's just say we want chapter 2 as well. So we're going to put in American history. We want to do chapter 2. Okay, we want to read chapter 2. Now remember, we're going to have to create this task, but we have a test that's due, right here on the 18th. So we're going to say, okay, when are we going to do that? Well, we need to schedule that sometime before the 18th. This one's due on the 10th. So let's say that we do that reading on the 12th, and then we're going to need to put in American History Chapter 3 as well. And here we just kind of put it in there. Then we're going to read that, and then we're going to need that, of course, before when? The 18th. So that's when the test is. So we're going to put that at The last one was at the 12th. We're going to say, I don't know, the 16th, okay? So whatever, and then maybe we're going to put in here American history, review, test notes. Okay? Test notes. Oops. And then if you do typos here, you can always fix them. Okay? And then we're going to say we're going to do that, let's just say on the 17th. So now, why are we doing all of this? Seems like an awful lot of work. So now we can do a couple things here. In drop task, we can pull these together. See how I just did that? You just kind of drag it over, and they're all kind of linked to one another, right? So we're going to pull that guy and link him. We're going to link him. So we can do this. It's kind of fun, right? And it's all linked to this guy. Okay, so we can kind of have it all as dependencies, add the dependency, take the dependency away, all of that good stuff, okay? So we can do that, kind of associate them with one another. But the cool thing is we can go to our filters at the beginning of each day, and let's just say we want to look at overdue tasks. If we click on there, we're not going to see any overdue tasks in Sparky Williams, okay? So we don't see any. Maybe we go to, what's due today, nothing for Sparky. Sparky's right there, and so on and so forth. I think you get the drift here. We can assign and look at things so that we can see all of our tasks, or we can just see the ones that are due. Now, are there alternatives to using drop task? There are. I like drop task because it's very visual and allows me to set things up and then forget about it. But I can do Google Calendar, for example. I can look in here, and these are home tasks, not those, but I could go in here. I think you get the idea. I could put a due date on here, things of that nature. I could have multiple lists that I want, things like that, right? So I could say move to list, and it could move to list. So that's another way to do it. And then yet a third way to do it, again, is with Outlook. You can use Outlook to do your tasks as well. So regardless, it doesn't matter how you do your tasks. However you do your tasks, plan them out. The last thing I want to show you here on this task screen is once you've taken your notes, remember we're talking about taking your notes, making them actionable. So we're going to cross these out, saying, yep, we got them all in there. They're all plugged in with dates, all plugged in with tasks. We're good to go. Now, let's say that we want to make an assignment to this. We can make an assignment to ourself, for example. Now, I don't think Sparky is on here. He's not. But let's just say I want to assign myself to this task. Whoops, Daisy. That's not good, huh? I'm going to just say here, I'm going to assign myself to this task, and I can assign multiple people. So if you're working with multiple people on a task, now you can assign multiple people. Maybe you're working on a research paper or something of that nature. We will go over that in another video.